Welcome to Cornerstone's Inside the Music, Episode 1. Today we're going to be talking about Matt Redman's The Heart of Worship.
And I simply come, longing just to.
At Cornerstone, we do songs from various styles and various time periods. From hymns to modern worship. From 70s choruses to vineyard oldies to the top CCLI. We try and choose songs or pick songs based on theological correctness, their ability to inspire us to worship God, the good musicality of it, and the singability of it. Or, can the average congregant sing this song? And today we're going to be talking about The Heart of Worship by Matt Redman, a song we're going to be singing this week at Cornerstone Church. Now this song dates back to the 1990s and was officially released in '99 when they were experiencing a period of apathy during worship in Redman's church in Watford, England, Soul Survivor. There was a dynamic missing from their worship. The parishioners were becoming like worship connoisseurs or even worship critics. And that's understandable given that their worship leader was Matt Redman, so totally understandable. But anyway, because of this, the pastor did a really bold and brave thing. He decided to get rid of the band and the sound system for a season and meet only together with just their naked voices. The pastor's point was that they'd lost their way in worship, and the only way to get back to the heart of worship would be to strip everything else away. All the external things, the sounds, the instruments, the songs, everything. Reminding his church family to become producers of worship and not just consumers of worship, Pastor Mike Pilavachi told them to ask themselves, what are you bringing as an offering to God as you come through these doors on Sunday morning? Now, I don't think Pastor Mike was talking about money or the offering they were giving or even their service to God throughout the week. I think he was talking about worship, their musical worship. And in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 15, it says, let us continually offer up to God a sacrifice of praise, the fruit of lips that openly confess his name. Let's dig into that verse a little bit deeper. What does it mean to give a sacrifice of praise? The words sacrifice and praise seem to be polar opposites. When we think of sacrifice, we think of something that costs us greatly usually, or dearly. And praise is something that easily bubbles up from within us. So, although they seem like opposites, in God's world, in our world, in the Bible, they're intertwined. See, praise doesn't always cost us something. We praise our dogs for fetching the ball, or we praise people for doing something that we like. Praise is often our response to an action of someone else that directly benefits us, and it doesn't usually have to cost us anything. We often find it easy to praise God with the same motivation. Because he protected us, blessed us, gave us the answer that we wanted, our praise to God easily bubbles up. We can sing, worship, and talk about God and how good he is because we can see it. This easily comes to the surface, and it doesn't cost us anything. Although it's worthwhile, it's not a sacrifice. Then there's those other times when God didn't come through the way that we wanted him to, or even the way we thought that he would. The mortgage is overdue. The spouse wants a divorce. We get the wrong results on a medical test. We have a wayward child. God seems really far away in these times, and praise is the last thing that wants to bubble up from our hearts. We can't see his goodness, and circumstances scream that he has forgotten us. So, to praise God in those times takes personal sacrifice. It's an act of the will to lay ourselves down before a God that we don't understand. When we bring a sacrifice of praise, we're saying that we trust God even though life isn't going good. God's still good and can be trusted. Real praise continues regardless of circumstances. It flows from a worshiping heart in the good times and the bad times. The sacrifice of praise comes from a humble heart that has been purified by fire. It rises from a spirit that has chosen to honor God in spite of the pain that life is causing. Psalms 51 verses 16 and 17 express this sacrifice of praise perfectly. It says, "You do not delight in sacrifice, or I would bring it. You do not take pleasure in burnt offerings. My sacrifice, O God, is a broken spirit and a contrite heart, God, you will not despise." Getting back to the Soul Survivor Church in England, having done away with their band and sound system, Redman recalls that this initially led to some awkward silences. But eventually, people broke out in a cappella songs and heartfelt prayers, and they were experiencing God in a fresh new way. Before long, they reintroduced the musicians and sound system as they had gained a new perspective that worship is all about Jesus. And Jesus commands a response in the depths of our souls, regardless of what the circumstances or settings. The heart of worship is simply a description of what they experienced. When the music fades and all is stripped away, and I simply come, longing just to bring something that's of worth that will bless your heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you, Jesus. We're going to be singing the Heart of Worship this Sunday together at our worship celebration, and likely for many other Sundays in the months and years to come, as this is a simple song that calls for a heartfelt response. But this Sunday, as we sing the Heart of Worship together, ask yourself, what am I bringing as an offering to God? This has been Inside the Music with Pastor Joey.
Yeah.